Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world, and thank you guys so much for tuning in for another video of DIY investing. I had a real slump as far as trying to figure out what video I was going to make for you guys today, so I ended up just posting on Twitter asking you guys for recommendations of coins you want to analyze. Now I was going through a lot of them and I was only going to do about 10 at first, and then it kind of just kept growing because I found a lot of really good setups and I really wanted to be able to share those with you guys. And so for today's video, we're going to be looking at about 15 different altcoins that you guys recommended that I think are providing really profitable setups. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new updates like the one in this video. I also offer a video course and Signal, so if you guys want to support the channel and you also want to get some really amazing educational content that can teach you guys all of the same strategies that I use to profit, you guys are definitely going to want to check out the video course. I made this specifically for people that are new and getting into crypto that want to learn a mixture of both basic understandings to technical analysis, as well as more advanced stuff that will be able to help you guys profit immensely over this next bull run. The signals are another great tool that you guys can actually copy my own personal trades that I'm taking in the market, along with portfolio management. You guys will be able to copy my portfolio as well as ask me specific questions about yours, and then I'll be able to help mentor you guys through the process of this bull run. Both of these are really good methods of making a lot of money and educating yourself, so make sure you guys join the Discord and message me on there by clicking the invitation link in the description of this video. There you're going to get access to my Discord server. All you guys have to do is just leave me a message on there and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Alright guys, we got a ton of different coins to talk about, so let's jump right into this video. So to start off this video, we're going to be taking a look at Hedera hashgraph. Now, all of these coins I pretty much know like hardly anything about, but we're not here to know about the fundamental aspect. We're here to look at the technicals, and I think that the technicals often portray a more clear picture. Obviously, you use fundamental analysis to invest into different cryptos, find out which ones are going to perform the best. But on a shorter time frame basis, technical analysis is another aspect that I greatly use. And really, it's one of the things that's helped me significantly with investing. And so really, I think the best thing that we can do is take a look at the fundamentals, take a look at the technicals as well, and that gives us the full around picture as far as what is taking place in the crypto markets. It's really weird that we create these little political biases and weird little ways of thinking where we usually just pick one or the other, where I think that they both tell a really important story as far as what's happening in the market. So what I ask of you guys right now is if you know something as far as fundamentals around these coins that I talk about, make sure you guys either join the Discord and message me and give me all of the information so I can also educate and learn and make further videos talking about this, or you guys can even just comment something in the description of this video and even message me or post something on Twitter. I'm really just looking to educate myself and be able to spread that information to as many people, and so that's what I ask of you guys if you do watch this and notice a coin that I talk about. Now the first one on the list is going to be Hedera hashgraph. Now, all I've ever heard of this coin was just things that people have said on Twitter, but the thing that I've heard a lot is that it has partnerships with Google, and it's supposed to be a player against blockchain. Now, I have no idea, but taking a look at the technicals, it looks like a really good setup. Now, for me, this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're getting ready for a 5-wave impulse. Now, I think that that'll complete this short-term cycle, but the amount of volume that we're getting in here and the volume profile itself is actually really bullish. Now, we have inclining price and inclining volume, which is a bullish sign. And now not only that, but in this retrace, we actually had declining volume and declining price, which is another bullish signal. And so what we're seeing currently with this consolidation was a correction. And then we got this big bullpen candle that came in here, and that's a really bullish sign that oftentimes points to a reversal. We also get this doji that formed shortly after, which shows indecision. And then the fact that we got another couple dojis and this one over here is closing green leads me to believe that we're about to see another impulse coming forward in this. I mean, really all we did was break out and then retest the previous resistance and support. And so my guess is we still have another impulse that we would take us to. I think that this wick, the top of this wick, would be a good target. I think that a safe bet would be either the candle body highs on the daily of this or even the wicks that this move made, because oftentimes you'll see that inside of a market. It'll make a big 3-wave impulse and then it'll come up, retest the highs of that, and then it'll fall. And so you always want to have a plan in place. You don't always want to set crazy high targets because sometimes you won't get filled. Make sure you guys fill some profits if you are short-term trading. If you're long holding, then short-term price doesn't matter. So next we're going to be taking a look at Orchid. Now Orchid is one that I actually accumulated a little bit of because I liked the setup at the time. It's actually fallen a little bit since then, and it's looked a little bit less convincing, but I still think that it is a bullish looking setup. Now kind of what I'm seeing and what I saw and my reasons for taking the trade in the first place was I noticed that we had this support right here, and then we sold through that, and then we had this big breakout. Now shortly after that we started trending up, and even though we've actually sold down a little bit, I still think that this is overall bullish consolidation, and I'll explain why. So we have the very cycle low that happened over here. Technically this is the lowest of low, but I just mean when we get added to the exchange. We have this low over here, and when we actually sold through support, we broke out shortly after and we retested that high as support, and then we kind of consolidated from there. And so even though we got rejected up here at this resistance, I still think that as long as we hold support above this level here at about 25 cents, I think that this will show more bullish continuation. And so this is one that I'm holding a little bit of. I packed a small moon bag. I didn't want to go too crazy into it because obviously these ones have more risk because they have less price history. But with that being said, I still think that this one has more upside to come. All right, guys, taking a look at Decentraland. This is another really good looking setup that I think is going to perform really well very soon. And we're actually already seeing the signs of that taking place. Now, this is one that actually created a falling wedge pattern, and this falling wedge pattern broke out, and then instead of immediately impulsing, sometimes the markets will fall to one more low to retest that trending support, and then we get our real impulses shortly after. And so this was a breakout of a falling wedge, fell back onto trending support, and we're now first starting to see the impulses coming from that point. And so kind of what I see here is the fact that we had this previous high, we fell lower, but now this impulse actually retested that high. This was the bottom of the wick, but we actually broke out, retested this cycle high, and we're now getting further bullish continuation. Or this is a confirmed support and resistance flip, and we're going to see more continuation coming. The volume profile stacks up. I think that this one's going to see a lot more upside coming, but for me, this looks just like a big one wave. And what's coming is going to be the 3-wave impulse, and that's one of the most impulsive waves as far as Elliott waves. And so I think that we should expect to see a lot of continuation taking place here because a falling wedge is a really bullish pattern. And so the fact that it's coming in a 1-wave impulse, I think that we're going to see a lot of upside coming in Decentraland. Next up is going to be Monero. Monero is one that I haven't really talked about a lot on this channel. I don't think I've ever made a video about it, but it's one that I'm actually really bullish on long term. It was one of the best performing altcoins in the last bull run, and I expect it to continue to kind of hold that status, being a major high cap coin. Now, what we saw here in the bear market was this major descending resistance. We actually broke from that, and this has just been sideways accumulation from this point. From the cycle high that took place here to the cycle low that took place here, we've basically been consolidating within this horizontal support and resistance channel. And kind of what I'm expecting to see here is a breakout of this high. And this is just going to look a lot like early Bitcoin, about 2015 Bitcoin. And that's actually the case for the majority of the majors. I think all of the majors look like 2015 Bitcoin. And we're going to see a cycle similar to how Bitcoin played out. And so if you guys remember 2015 Bitcoin, basically what comes next is a big impulse and a breakout. And that was kind of in Bitcoin what happened was we actually made this big breakout and then we kind of consolidated in this ascending triangle before we broke out higher. I don't know how the price action is going to look in alts, but I would assume it would be fairly similar. We're going to get a breakout of this previous high at about $120, and then we're going to continue on in this new bullish cycle. And so this is a really bullish one that I'm looking for. So this is one that I think is really bullish moving forward. Really, every single one of these that I'm showing you, I think look bullish, and that's why I'm showing them with you guys. And these are really some of the best ones that you recommended. I'm not going to cover all of them, but these are the best ones that I saw from a technical perspective. Now, Xfinit is one I haven't really heard anything about before, but I really like the setup that I'm seeing here. Now, kind of what I see is the potential for an inverse head and shoulder formation. And once we break out of about right here, then that is going to be a confirmed breakout of that. And then that's going to set us up for at least this previous high, this lower high. And so I think that this one is going to set up for a really profitable market cycle. Now, the reason why I like it is because of this consolidation. We can see that prices have basically flatlined for a significant amount of time. Almost a year amount of time we just basically consolidated straight and sideways. And the reason for that is because this is getting heavily accumulated. The amount of volume that we saw down here at these lows was a very indicative sign that this was getting accumulated, and shortly after, what followed was a major impulse. And so this is just a one-wave impulse. We can see really good volume, and I do believe that we're going to continue on much higher in this cycle. And so this is one I'm actually keeping on my radar. I think I may buy some of this. Might post a signal inside of my Discord, so stay tuned for that, because this is one that I actually like. Alright guys, we got one of the more popular coins out there, and that is VeChain. VeChain is one that I've actually liked for a little while. I've been watching, keeping on my radar, because it has a lot of really good volume. And I think that this one has a good, strong fundamental use case in society. But with partnerships with Walmart, I think that that's really a no-brainer, that this one has credibility and substance towards it and will perform well in this next bull run. Now, kind of what I'm seeing currently, I believe that we broke from our descending resistance that we had here. We retested that as support, more volume, good sustained volume. Now, even though we threw up this really ugly bearish engulfing candle, I think overall we've still maintained pretty good bullish structure. And what I see here is a big wick, which oftentimes points to early reversal, and we still could see a reversal out of these highs. But I do like the chances thus far. Now, I think that as long as we can clear this major resistance, then we're going to be good. If we can't make a breakout of this, then obviously I'm going to be expecting more downside, and I would assume that we'd probably come back down and retest this previous support level down here. But overall, I think that we are going to see a break of this. The volume, to me, looks more bullish than anything, and that's kind of what's giving it away. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing from a technical perspective moving forward with VeChain. If we can break out of this, then obviously I'm going to be expecting that we're going to reach the cycle highs and the previous all-time highs of the last cycle, because that's going to be a confirmed double bottom reversal pattern. Here we have Alquran. This one's been getting talked about a lot recently, and I've actually heard a lot about it. This is one that I have been keeping on my radar, have been watching for a while. I've been watching since down in here. This is when I first told people about it in my Discord, was back down in these lows. It was literally like the very bottom right down in here. But then from that point, we've actually broken from our previous high, and we've retested that as support. And so what's coming now is just continuation. We're going to see a pretty big impulse. This is just a really early parabolic run. I think that this next impulse is going to get pretty big, and I think that we're at least going to rally upwards of this previous resistance that we saw up here. At the low end, I think that we go here. But I would assume that we are going to hit pretty high. I think that this one has a lot of potential to go pretty parabolic. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing. Now, first target would be about here at 55 cents. I would probably sell the majority of my position because it's likely we get a pullback from that point. But I would keep a little bit because I think that we very easily have the chance of hitting upwards of this cycle high at closer to 81 cents. So just keep Alquran on your radar. So Cardano is one I've talked a little bit about on my channel, and I've accumulated a little bit. I actually have a current margin position open in Cardano since about here. I went long in Cardano, and from that point we've pretty much broken out, and so I'm kind of just holding that position because I actually expect a lot more bullish continuation to come, and so I'm going to hold this position, but I do like what I'm seeing. I've updated you guys previously and told you guys that I was expecting this to be a double bottom reversal pattern, and that's what it looks like it's setting up to be. Basically what that means is you have a resistance level, and then you have a support level, and it consolidates in this horizontal support and resistance channel. And once we actually break out from the previous resistance, then we're actually going to get a confirmed trend reversal. Now, what happens in a double bottom is obviously you have two retests of support. That completes the bottom. And then once you actually break out of the resistance, that confirms the entire trend change of what we just experienced. So this entire bearish market cycle would be reversed, and we'd start a brand new one in its place. And so as far as profit potential goes with high cap coins, I think Cardano is probably your best bet. This one has maintained that, top 15 stance inside of the market cap and relatively top 10 for the majority of that bear market. And so I think that this one's going to perform well. The CEO of Cardano was actually a co-founder of Ethereum, and so this is proof of stake. That's what Ethereum is moving to, and so I actually think that this one has a really good chance of performing and outperforming the majority of the market in this next cycle. And so this is one that I have accumulated a little bit of. I think that this one is going to continue to perform well, so make sure you keep it on your radar as well. Next up is going to be Litecoin. Litecoin I've talked a little bit about on this channel because I think that this is one of the most beautiful market cycles that we're seeing amongst the altcoins. And this is one that actually had a really important event as far as what takes place in cryptocurrency, and that was a halving. Now the halving is when the mining reward gets cut in half, and that happens every 4 years. I mean, I think it might be different in some cryptocurrencies, but it happens every 4 years in Bitcoin, happens every 4 years in Litecoin as well. Now, we had the halving that took place right here, and then we actually sold off from that. And so kind of what I've expected to see with Bitcoin as well is kind of a buy the rumor, sell the news. And so I think that we'll continue to impulse inside of Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoins. And then after the halving, we'll start to actually retrace. And so with Litecoin, we saw that. We actually sold off significantly after the halving. And so from that point, we're just kind of getting our next impulses further on in the cycle. We have really good volume. I think that we're going to continue to break out of the previous high, which we saw here at about $138, $140. Once we break out, it's going to set us up for that all-time high mark, or at least about $320. And so this is what I actually have small positions on. I actually accumulated a little bit higher at about I think it was $68 when I originally bought it, and we sold off pretty significantly, but it was only a small majority of my overall portfolio. I think I only bought like 3.5 Litecoin, and so I have not actually accumulated a lot, but I think that this is going to be one that really performs well, and this was actually one that started the bull run. People don't realize that, but when Bitcoin started impulsing from the December lows, coins like Engine, coins like Chainlink did good, but Litecoin was really the first altcoin to start moving at all, and it was the biggest altcoin, and it was really performing well amongst the majority of the market. And so with us having this halving that just took place, I think this one's going to perform well in this next cycle, so you guys should definitely keep it on your list. I don't know why I haven't made a video about this, but this is one that actually led the recent alt season that we just saw when all of the altcoins started breaking out. Ethereum Classic was the one to really take charge in doing that, and I think that this one's providing a really profitable setup. Now, kind of what I see is just an early market cycle. We had a 1, 3, 5 impulse, and then we fell all the way back down, 85, 90% correction, I don't know, somewhere along those lines. But this is just a big one-wave impulse, and so I think what's coming next is a very impulsive market cycle inside of Ethereum Classic, and I think that we're going to see that happening very shortly. Now, from a shorter time frame perspective, what I saw happen was a 1, a 3, and a 5-wave impulse, and we did break out of the previous cycle high right there. Now, even though we're fallen back to the previous high, I don't think that we're necessarily going to bounce immediately. I think it's more likely that we drop back down just a tiny bit and maybe fall on support a little lower at about here, which would be, $8. Now, we can still come in contact with the previous cycle high market structure, and it's still going to be bullish continuation. I just think that we might need to drop down a little bit lower before we do see that move. And this is really the same sort of setup that we saw even in Tezos, where we kind of break out, make our move, and we just kind of consolidate for one more low before making our new cycle high into price discovery. And so with this one, I think that we have a little bit more downside, but this is going to continue to perform well, and I think that the next impulse coming is going to be one that's very big. So you guys will be able to make a lot of profit off this one. Holo Bitcoin is one I posted a signal for a while ago, and I think that we actually got filled on that not too long ago. Now, what I'm seeing in Holo is this major descending resistance, and we've actually broken from that. Now, one thing that tends to happen in altcoins, like I've mentioned before, is after a break of major descending resistance, sometimes we fall to a new low, sometimes we fall and trend sideways for a little bit, but it's still a trend reversal. It's just like an ultimate fake out because people don't expect it. Now, what we saw was a 1, we saw a 3, and we saw a 5 Elliott wave impulse down. And so I actually expect this to be our first impulse up, and we're going to see a pretty strong move coming inside of Holo. Now, I'm going to continue to hold my position that I have in here. I can't remember exactly what price I bought at, but it was relatively low. I think that it was about roughly where we're at currently. It was somewhere in these low points inside of this cycle. And so I was at a short-term loss, but I basically got a really cheap entry, and so I'm going to continue to hold this one. I do believe that we're going to continue to see more bullish continuation further. Crypterium is one that I actually accumulated a little bit of. I actually like this setup because the Elliott waves are really nice and symmetrical. what we see here is a 1, we see a 3, and then we see a 5 with an ABC correction back down. Now, what followed shortly after that was just further continuation inside of that bullish trend. So I think that we're still bullish from here. We need to see more continuation to further cement that belief. But I liked what we saw thus far. We retraced right back down to the 618 Fibonacci, which is the golden ratio as far as Fibonacci goes. And so that's oftentimes where you see a buyback in a bullish market. And it's also support of the 4-wave. And so that's what you see in Elliott wave theory as well. And so anytime Elliott wave theory lines up with Fibonacci in a really symmetrical way, there's a little bit more substance backing that analysis. And so I really like what I'm seeing currently. Overall, this is just sideways consolidation, accumulation. This is just a 1-wave impulse based off of Elliott wave theory. And so what's coming next is going to be a 3-wave. And so I expect this 3-wave to clear the highs that we saw over here at roughly $1. And so this is one that I think we should keep on our list. Obviously, I've accumulated some, so it's some I'm holding. I bought down here in the cycle lows, and so I am technically in a tiny bit of profit, but not much. I'm just going to be holding this one for the majority of the next cycle because I think that this one's going to perform well. Now, keep this one on your radar because we are still relatively cheap as far as the market cycle goes. And if we do start impulsing further, I think that we'll see a pretty parabolic run coming shortly. BitTube is one that is basically a decentralized YouTube. I actually haven't made an account on their platform. I haven't even been on it. But it is one I've heard about in the bear market. In the bear market, it looked kind of crappy, and it just kept dumping, obviously. But I actually think that we're at a pretty good point as far as where we're currently sitting in this cycle. Now, if we come in here, let's zoom in so we have a little bit of a better understanding. What I see currently taking place is a breakout of this major descending resistance. We were consolidating kind of in this wedge, and we've actually barely pierced outside of that. Now, this isn't confirmation enough for me. I think we need to get a further impulse, but I think that what we just saw was a reversal setup where we have this big pump and then we immediately dump back down to that support, and we see a lot of volume that's taking place shortly after that. And usually you see this at the bottom of a trend. This is just basically like a stalemate between the bulls and the bears, and it's like a synchronicity where the bulls pump, the bears dump, and then it shows a complete trend reversal that just took place. And so I think that this just showed a trend reversal. We technically have made a higher high here, and so as long as we keep impulsing, I expect that this one's going to perform really well. I liked the volume that we saw in here. We have a steady inclination in volume that's taking place outside of the descending resistance, so as long as we continue to trend up, I think that this one is showing a really bullish setup moving forward. Now, this was all of the coins I had for you. This is actually a really long video, and I talked longer than I was supposed to, but it's hard to cram all of these coins and talk about enough to actually explain what I'm trying to explain. And so if you are here for the entire update, thank you guys so much. If you found any value in this, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel. Click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new updates. If you guys want access to my trading signals or my video course, make sure you guys click the invitation link in the description of this video, and there you're going to get access to my Discord server. Once you're there, just make sure you message me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for the support. This is one of the videos that I actually have a lot of fun doing, and I didn't really mind having it be so long because I like making long videos. I actually have no problem just sitting here talking frequently. I'm a pretty good talker, and so it's really easy for me to just talk about these coins, and I'm really happy that I'm actually able to share this back with you guys. For maybe you guys that don't really know what to think about technical analysis from your coins, maybe you're only a fundamental investor and want to understand kind of what it looks like from a technical perspective. That's why I make these videos, and so I want to keep you guys informed so we're all on the same page together. Occasionally I'll make these sort of videos, so make sure you guys follow me on Twitter because I posted on Twitter to comment your coins, and so if you guys follow me on Twitter, you would have been able to recommend some coins, and who knows, maybe I'll cover them further down the line. And so make sure you guys reach out to me on all fronts, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.